In today's video, Essential Conditions for a Collaborative School Culture, featuring Tavia Clark. Hello, coaches! Welcome back to another episode of Coach Better Quick Tips. My name is Kim Cafino, and I've worked with hundreds of teachers, coaches, and leaders in schools around the world to help them create thriving and sustainable instructional coaching programs. And I'm on a mission to help you coach better. Wherever you are in your coaching journey, we can support you. Come learn with us in one of our courses or private mentoring packages designed specifically for instructional coaches. Join our global Coach Better community, ask any questions you'd like to hear us answer, and find all of our resources for instructional coaches on our website at coachbetter.tv. You can also find us on social media at Eduro Learning or in our Coach Better Facebook group, and subscribe to our channel here on YouTube to catch all of our latest videos. If you're not sure where to start, take our free quiz and get a tailored list of our best coaching resources delivered straight to you and designed specifically for your level of coaching experience. Find it at coachbetter.tv/quiz. Today's episode is all about the essential elements for developing a collaborative school culture. This is a highlight from one of my favorite episodes from a previous season. And I've been wanting to share this clip for quite a while because it's a participatory and collaborative culture that will help make coaching thrive. When educators want to work together, when we can see our colleagues as people who help us become better educators, it's a lot easier to opt in to coaching. On this channel, I talk a lot about creating a thriving coaching culture. And that kind of culture doesn't just support more coaching. It builds a sense of collective efficacy that creates an environment where teachers want to stay and grow. Of course, this doesn't happen in isolation. We need many different factors working together. And this clip from my conversation with Tavia does a great job of highlighting 8 of those key elements. If you're working towards building a coaching culture, this clip is for you. And if you're starting to think about how you might be able to lead this work in your school community as a coach, stay tuned to the end of the episode to see how we can support you in our next global cohort of coaches as leaders. Okay, let's jump into the clip. Given your work with Friday Institute and possibly also with your current job, what enables schools to be innovative and risk-taking environments? What elements need to be in place for them to do these new things, to think about PD in these new ways, to be open to kind of changing mindsets about teaching and learning?
Yeah, so I thought a lot about this. I think that there are probably 1,000 answers to this question. In my experience, one of the things that I have seen that just at the most foundational level has been really will support transformational change. Because I think that at the end of the day, we both know in education, that is constantly what we're doing. We are constantly transforming and changing and growing and learning. So one of the things I think that is really important in helping with that is creating a participatory culture that practices both communication and collaboration. And so when I say that, I think a lot of times, and I know this was my experience as a classroom teacher, even as a librarian, when I worked as an educator in a building, so often I felt like things were being done to me, not with me, not for me, but to me. And while, there's a million, we could do the 5 whys to get down to why the decisions are made the way they are. A lot of it is top down, but by the time it gets to me, it feels very much like I'm a passive, person in this whole experience. So I think that participatory culture is important. And that means building trust. So, there has to be buy-in for leadership. If you are going to expect or say, use buzzword bingo and say, you're going to be innovative, you're going to take risks, and we have that kind of culture, then you actually have to buy into that as a leader. So you have to be willing to allow, your people to take risks, to fail, to talk about what that means, to figure out in that failure what opportunities exist to grow. Because we're not going to get it right 100% of the time. That's what learning is. We wouldn't have to learn if we could get it right 100% of the time. So I think building trust is really important. And also I think that leadership has to be committed to learning alongside staff. So if we're going to be innovative and take risks, whether that means technology or whether that means trying new instructional practices or whether that means maybe infusing trauma-informed practices into this just how we do business as a school building, the leadership has to be willing to learn alongside. So when they can get down on their knees on the ground and like play and do all the things that we're doing in our learning experiences or get in classrooms and actually learn alongside teachers and students, it's going to feel much more participatory. I also think that in creating that kind of culture with communication and collaboration, we have to stop assuming that everybody knows how to collaborate. We have to really spend time to work on the skills, like communication skills, that it takes to really be able to collaborate. Because collaborate isn't divide and conquer. It isn't group work. It isn't you go do your thing and then we'll come back and talk about it. There's going to be instances where that's what we have to do, and it's going to have to be siloed because of time, because of constraints of staffing, whatever. But if we really want to do, like, really have a participatory culture, we have to really support collaboration. And one of the foundational elements of that is communication. And so leadership needs to demonstrate that. We need to have open communication. We need to practice communication skills. We need to practice having crucial conversations. And that could be as simple as role playing things. I mean, there's like a lot of interesting things that you can do. So I think that's important. There needs to be a commitment to professional learning. I think if you want people to be innovative and take risks, you need to give them the chance to learn and practice in a way that's low stakes, not always in front of their students. That is the most terrifying place to practice something new. And we don't spend enough time considering building confidence. And so I think that commitment to professional learning is also a commitment to helping educators, staff, even leadership, whoever, build confidence in their own abilities and the way that they can serve students. And also, I think that we need, for that culture to feel participatory, we need to spend a little more time with affirmations and celebrations of success and growth and learning. We spend a lot of time talking about what doesn't work and what isn't going right. And while those conversations are really, really important, it's also really important to celebrate when things do go right, or to celebrate like the glows and the grows, the things that went well, and then maybe not the things that failed, but the things that offer us opportunities to get better. That's worth celebrating too, especially when we can talk about those things and point those out. And that is also going to build excitement for like sustaining an effort of innovation. And then again, in any environment where you want people to be able to take risks and be innovative, you've got to provide resources. This is never going to go away. Resources are always important. Time, money, of course, but also human capital. We have to start investing better in our people. And I don't mean in the sense of like we can never bring outside people in to help us, because that's not what I mean. But I also mean investing in ways like distributed leadership. Like, what opportunities do administrators have in their buildings to distribute leadership so that everyone can feel some agency, ownership, and autonomy? And also investing in coaches. I mean, I will never stop saying this. Coaches are like super important until they're not, and then they're the first to go when budgets get cut, right? And that is such a disservice, because those are your people in your building that are like the glue that keep it all together. And they create the connection. And so we have to really look at resources outside of just time and money, and also that human capital. And also, I think transparency is important. If you really want people to be able to innovate and take risks, you really need to be transparent about expectations. There needs to be a positive relationship between things like distributed leadership, organizational improvement, and student achievement. Everybody in that building or in that district should know how those things work together. And we should just really, we're adults, and we should be able to have some really adult conversations about these things. And transparency helps us get there.
Okay, that was a lot. That was great. I actually was taking notes because I wanted to be able to refer back to them as we were talking. And you basically gave an 8-step process. I think it was 8 steps for enabling schools to be innovative and take risks. And I really appreciate that you looked at this from the leadership lens, and the way that you are talking about it sounds to me like, oh, that's a place I want to work. Where those things are in place is where I want to work. Thanks for watching this clip with Tavia. If you've been a coach for a while, you know that school culture has a huge impact on your success or your challenges. The wonderful thing is that as a coach, you have the potential to leverage your skills to help build a culture that supports instructional coaching. If you're ready to think about your program and practice from this big picture lens, and you're curious about embracing your leadership as an instructional coach to see the ways that you can build a culture of coaching, make sure to watch our free workshop for experienced coaches, Scaling Your Impact as an Instructional Coach. You can find it at edurolearning.com/scale. After you've been a coach for a few years, you know that you can't just keep working one-to-one with every colleague on staff. That's a ticket to burnout. Scaling your impact requires that you shift your mindset from seeing yourself as just a coach to seeing yourself as a leader, so you can create and advocate for the systems and structures that make coaching sustainable for you as an individual coach and for your coaching program in your school. Watch the free workshop at edurolearning.com/scale. And if you discover that you need support as you go through the process, join us for our next global cohort of Coaches as Leaders, designed for experienced coaches ready to advocate for and build the systems and structures that are needed to truly sustain a coaching culture. In Coaches as Leaders, we'll help you recognize exactly which systems and structures you need and might be missing in your school setting so you can make your coaching sustainable and you can scale your impact beyond working one-to-one to working with teams and groups. Registration opens only once a year. Get all the details at edurolearning.com/CAL. If you'd like a transcript of this conversation and all of our other resources for instructional coaches, head over to our website at coachbetter.tv to find the show notes for today's episode. And if you've made it this far into this episode, let's chat. Leave me a comment below or find me at Eduro Learning on social media and send me a message about what you took away from today's episode. Let's start a conversation about how we can work together to create a thriving coaching culture in your school setting.